upfront. Well, this wasn't planned, but I think we do balance the fact that we are coming to a meeting of ladies only, so I've come with the male-only team. Seriously now, in fact, we had planned to bring our female colleagues in the embassy and the consulate, but for both of them, unfortunately, they had to attend to some other business, so they couldn't be here with us. But do rest assured, we try also to represent our population in terms of the gender in our office and in the activities that we do. We have received a very warm welcome this morning. Thank you very much. We feel very much part of you, though quite a number of you, we don't know you personally, but we do have that affinity, because I think all of you are Zimbabweans, probably are someone, which again confirms the fact that we are just one family. We happen to come from Zimbabwe, you happen to be South Africans or other nationality, but ultimately we are all one. And I'm happy that we do have that representativity across nationalities, because one of the things that we are trying to encourage as the Embassy of Zimbabwe is we need to reach across to our brothers and sisters who come from other countries, particularly from Africa. There is a real effort and a real agenda to try and divide us at the national level, at the regional level, at the continental level. And if we do not ourselves take the necessary steps and conscious efforts to actually overcome those artificial divides, we will fall away and we will fall into that trap. So I'm very happy that in this meeting we do have that cross-section of nationalities, because it starts from this level that we can build this building of bridges, this reaching across to each other from groups like yourselves, and we go into the wider community. Well, we want to appreciate you, Mrs. Matuku, for initiating this engagement. We are always very happy to attend such functions where we meet, we exchange views, we interact and engage with our compatriots. That's one of the major reasons why we are here. We are here for our nationals, so that we can meet with them, we can respond to their aspirations, their expectations, their needs. We are not saying that we will be able to fully respond to all those, but we can lend an ear and we can do whatever it is that is within our powers to try and address those expectations. Today's event is even more special because it is an event for and by an inspired gender, the women, the mothers of the nation. And as the earlier speaker, not my Hamaziripi, but the representative of Accountica said, I share, in fact, with you your definition of women. And I think we need to be really serious about respecting women. Let it not just be a slogan, let it not just be that government is saying there is a policy on gender equality, there is a policy on respect for gender. All of us were born by mothers, and I think mothers are precious. So we need to respect our mothers, we need to respect our sisters, we need to respect our aunts and all our female members of the family, because they merit it, they deserve it. And when we do get married, we need to see our wives as the same in deserving that respect. I've been invited here to speak a bit about the embassy here in South Africa. So some of the things I'm going to say may be just too bureaucratic, blunt, but I do hope that you will find something that you will take out of it. So the presence of the embassy and the consulates here confirms not only that Zimbabwe and South Africa have formal diplomatic relations, but also that they enjoy friendly relations in all spheres of public life. You do not establish an embassy in a country where you have very little by way of relations, by way of similarities or commonalities. You tend to establish your embassies in a country where you do have very good political, economic, and other relations, but you also establish an embassy in a place where you see potential for growing those relations where they may not exist. But for us as Zimbabwe, it's inevitable and unavoidable that we have an embassy here in South Africa. We are neighbors. We share so much, and I could not even start to talk about what it is that we share, but we share a lot, and we need to demonstrate this very friendly, close, excellent relationship by having a presence in each other's capitals. So you have an embassy of South Africa in Harare. As your ambassador here in South Africa, I also represent Zimbabwe in the Kingdom of Lesotho. I'm also the ambassador to Mauritius, Madagascar, and Seychelles, where I am yet to present my credentials. I mention this because you are businesswomen, you travel. Say you go to Lesotho or you go to Madagascar and you have problems. The embassy of Zimbabwe that's responsible for our relations with Madagascar, for instance, or Mauritius, is the embassy here in Zimbabwe. And you will need to get in touch with us or the consulate to say, look, I have this challenge or this problem, and we will be the ones who are recognized as having the official position and responsibility to intervene and assist where such assistance is needed. So the official business between the government of Zimbabwe and the government of South Africa, as well as the other countries that I've mentioned, is conducted through the embassy. The embassy is there to protect and promote the political and economic interests of Zimbabwe in South Africa, and of course the other countries that I have referred to. And all this for the benefit of our country and its people. The embassy and the consulates in Johannesburg and in Cape Town are responsible for the consular welfare of Zimbabweans in these countries. A major component of this function is the provision of all forms of national documentation. So we are talking about our birth certificates, national IDs, and passports to our nationals in the countries of our accreditation. Regrettably, at the moment, we can only facilitate your applications for birth certificates and for passports. And as we are aware, at the moment, you then have to submit those forms to Harare, or to Bulawayo, when the passports or the birth certificates are then issued. But we are working on a program to ensure that you can submit all your applications at the consulate, leave everything there. We will send all the application forms and everything to Harare, and the next time we call you is merely to say, come and collect your issued document, whether it's a birth certificate or an ID or a passport. I'm sure some of you also have been following the news. The Registrar General's Office has announced that they are working on a platform that will enable us, all of us, and those who don't have national IDs, to be able to apply for your IDs online, so you no longer need to travel to Zimbabwe in order to apply for your national ID. This, of course, is work it's work which is underway, and we do hope that we will be able to make a definitive announcement soon as to when this program is going to start please do bear with us. We have a huge backlog in terms of those who are seeking to apply for passports or to renew their passports. We suffered during the lockdown last year because we also had to close the consulates physically, and we could not offer any services in that respect. So we do have quite a backlog, and the consulates are battling to try and clear those backlogs. But we are open to any suggestions that can help us to improve Africa and travel to all the provinces and enable those who would want to apply for national documents to do so. And we are also working with one of the UN agencies in order to bring that about. I have staff from the consulates in Johannesburg here, and they can provide you with the information about the services that are offered by the consulate and the details about what you need to do in order to access and receive those services. I want just to stress that the consulate's responsibilities and activities are largely limited to documentation and welfare issues, although they are also involved in trade and investment promotion activities, but they do not handle any political activities at all. The embassy, on the other hand, has no restriction whatsoever as to the matters that it deals with, because it represents the entirety of the government and people of our country. In carrying out our functions, we work formally with all the structures and sectors of the host country, that is the government, the business community, and the social partners. We also work with other diplomatic missions and international organizations that are present here in South Africa. But apart from the host country institutions and personalities, an important partner in our work are our nationals living, working, and studying here in South Africa, and of course in the other countries that we are accredited to. This community, which is generally referred to as the diaspora, of which you are a part, is important to us, not just as the embassy, but also as a country. That is why our government adopted a policy in 2016 titled the National Diaspora Policy in order to provide a structured framework and coordinated mechanisms to engage and work with the diaspora. The policy also seeks to promote measures and create an environment that would enable the effective participation of the diaspora in and contribution to national development. The government has established a diaspora directorate in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Trade as the focal point and the point of contact in diaspora engagement activities. So for those of you who may be interested in getting in touch with this diaspora in Harare, my team here will gladly provide you with the necessary contact details. We have, as you all know, a very huge diaspora community here in South Africa. Nobody knows how many of you are here. So when you read statistics or figures in the media about so many Zimbabwean nationals in South Africa, that is not true. That is just speculation. Nobody has actually done any study, any exercise to determine the size of our diaspora here in South Africa. So it will be practically impossible to interact and engage on an individual basis with each and every one of you in this community. And that is the reason why we encourage our compatriots in the diaspora to come together and constitute yourselves in associations. It's just an encouragement. But we believe coming together in an organized, voluntary grouping has many advantages. Apart from engendering stronger ties among the members of these associations, coming together also confers recognition and a sense of credibility, seriousness, and purpose. more significantly, coming together gives you a stronger and more effective voice than that of a sole individual. This is going to be natural. If I get a group of Zimbabweans coming under one banner, I'll probably listen to them more seriously than if I get an individual. Depends who this individual is, what are their attributes. But see, it's very difficult for any one of you, for instance, just to pick up the phone and say, I want to come and see the ambassador. You go through a lot of questioning and probably whoops and loops, and you may not be able to come in to get to see me. But if a grouping, we are really in business, we want to come and see the ambassador. My staff will certainly sit up and try and do something to make that happen. Because we believe strength. And regrettably, in our community, the Zimbabwe diaspora here, we have tended to weaken ourselves because of our numbers. So instead of coming together, we have decided to go into our own individual shells. But we don't think that is very helpful. We see communities from other countries, the Ethiopians, the Nigerians, the Ghanaians, the Kenyans, they really do come together as groups and they manage to achieve a lot because of that. So the embassy encourages Zimbabweans in South Africa and in the other countries to which we are accredited to support each other, to work together and to come to each other's aid. This encouragement is not an encouragement to be isolationist, not at all. It is an encouragement to be organized, to be effective, and also to be community-minded. It's a lot easier when you are in a larger group to be more conscious of and to be responsive to the community challenges that you face, rather than as an individual. Of course, I know quite a lot of you have got a big heart, and you will be able to tell us your experiences in trying to deliver on that mission that you have as an individual, and the ease with which you have been able to do it when you have come together with others who are like-minded as yourself. So the embassy seeks to work with the Zimbabwe diaspora in promoting the trade and economic relations between Zimbabwe and the countries it is assigned to. I had the pleasure to visit Lesotho, and the first point of call, apart of course from the government of Lesotho itself, government officials, I looked for the Zimbabwean diaspora community in Lesotho. And I was with my wife, Mrs. Samadhi, on that occasion. It was a real pleasure to meet them. But also it made our stay in Lesotho much more enjoyable, also much easier. Because you are a source of very useful information. You are a source of very useful contacts. You have such knowledge that helps us, to navigate our way in some places that we may not be too familiar with. So, in the spaces that you occupy, and in the business interests that you have, and in the networks that you nurture, you can serve as important partners in creating opportunities for trade and investment exchanges between Zimbabwe and South Africa. You also can promote tourism into Zimbabwe in your interactions with local people or other residents of this country. On our part, the embassy is a source of authoritative information about the policies and regulations in Zimbabwe. It is also an official line of communication to and with the authorities, agencies, and institutions in Zimbabwe. And we can facilitate interactions with visiting delegations. For instance, if we have a delegation from our investment authority visiting South Africa, and you get wind of it and you may wish to meet someone, we certainly can facilitate that. Or if we are aware of your interest and you think you would be a useful group or individual to meet this delegation, we will certainly reach out to you and seek to facilitate such meetings. We also we try to have an open door policy at the embassy as part of our engagement drive. Evidently, there are practical and other considerations that will circumscribe the practice of this openness. So yes, we are open, but we certainly have to go through certain processes in order for us to be able to receive you. By attending events such as this one, we extend our support and our acknowledgement of the commendable work that you are doing. And we associate ourselves with that work. We, however, do not have any facility to provide financial support to your activities or to your work. What we can do, though, is where relevant and possible to invite you to some of the events or activities that we may host as the embassy, or to which we may be invited to participate. For instance, every year, before the pandemic set in, the Department of International Relations and Cooperation always had an exhibition where they invited embassies to participate in, where we would display some of our cultural artifacts, but where we would also display some of our business opportunities. And I know in past years we've invited some Zimbabwe nationals to come and display their wares. We've invited an artistic group to come and perform. So it gives you that exposure, because it is an exhibition that involves all embassies here in Pretoria. For us to be able to do so, we need to have information about what you do and how we can contact you. But let me assure you that we will not share your contact information without first getting your permission to do so. I wish to appreciate that many of you here present have taken it upon yourselves to respond in practical ways to the humanitarian needs of the vulnerable members of the communities in our midst. I encourage you to keep up this good work that you are doing and the good image of Zimbabwe that you are portraying and building. I am informed that this is a conversation. It has been more of a monologue at the moment, so I think I should stop here so that Mrs. Matuku's wish to have a conversation can indeed be met. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for the ambassador. And thank you for listening. Like we said, we wanted him to give us information first, and if we have any questions, then we can take a few questions for him and the delegation to answer. So do we have any questions? Okay, that was a quick one in the corner.
Your Excellency, and all
guys.
how do we register our services with the embassies? They platform, the database whereby, let's say, people who come through from Zimbabwe and say we are looking for people who do such and such work. How can we register our services basically with the embassy? Thank you.
Okay, I'm sure he noted that down. I'm going to take 3 questions first, then he responds, or any of the delegation responds, and then we get the conversation going. Yes.
So I just have, I think, 3 questions.
One. One. Then we'll come back, so we give others a chance. Yes.
Okay, so the first one that
Yes, Julie.
I would love to understand how the Zimbabwean embassy is supporting the young men and women in the diaspora, like the business people.
Amen.
How do we have like social networks and
Yes.
governments, when you come to the embassy, I've been to the embassy to apply for a passport,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's a bit formal. What
Amen.
do we have as social networks? How do we get to meet Zimbabweans who are doing
Yes.
in Cape Town?
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's
Yes. Good question.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to this corner and then he will respond to the first 3 questions and then we'll go.
Andina Peki. Apeko sadaro ja.
You need a mic.
Good morning, Ambassador and Mama. Thank you for coming. I have 3 questions also, but I will say one for now.
Yeah, good one. Good one.
Do you have an opportunity of
Nakufunza wa eni huyo eni.
the tender businesses of the government of SA as Zimbabweans in diaspora? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I've come to use this maybe when he's done. I'm starting to I'm going to hand over to you, Your Excellency.
Well, let's be stand. Thank you very much for those questions. First and foremost, no, we do not have a database at the moment. I do have my officer who is responsible for our diaspora engagement. I now have somebody who is dedicated to that, Mr. Machinjike, who is here. And we are actually working. We are looking at how we can create this database. There has been reluctance on the part of Zimbabweans to register. That is the fact. There is that general suspicion that we may use your details for nefarious reasons or purposes. I'm being very open with you. So we have not been that pushy. We would rather have you come and say, I would like to share my details with you, and this is who I am, and this is what we do. So that is where we are. But I do have an officer who is doing that. And if you have some ideas as to how we can do that, we can reach out to the diaspora. Please share those with us. Because what we need is what comes from you, rather than something that we impose on you. The second question was supporting young people, social networks. Again, see, we are very happy to interact with you. As I indicated earlier, I prefer that you be organized yourselves. See, it's not my business as the embassy, but it is our business to encourage you to network or to organize yourselves, and you can invite us to come to your launch, to come to one of your events, and you can use it as a way of reaching out to your colleagues, to other youths in the community. That is what we do, which is this authenticity, which is this official stamp, which is this acknowledgement, if you wish. And we will be very happy, so long as you come, of course, with a proposal which we see is serious. I will give you an example. Recently, we had a young lady, Zimbabwean, who came to the embassy and said, I have an organization that I am running. This is an organization which is supporting other youths, particularly in the education sector. My challenges are A, B, C, D. How can you help? I don't have resources to support the work you're doing. But what do I have? I have networks. I have connections. So we connected here with one of the UN agencies, and I believe they are doing a good job to actually reach out to more youths through that connection, because the UN agents then started also providing information about what she was doing with their platforms. You can imagine the number of people who managed to reach that way. So this is something that we can do, but I want to stress, we really encourage that you take the initiative and try to come as a group or as an association rather than as individuals, because there are so many Zimbabweans, and we've seen other countries, other nationalities, they organize themselves and then they have this very formal sort of interaction with the embassy. And I would say, and I would prefer it that way, it's much neater. Imagine if you have 10 associations, it's much easier for us to organize something together than if I have 100 individuals. Just giving you an example. Then tender business. Well, South African public tenders are published, so they are there in the public media, and you can. I think there are platforms, certainly. I think even on the web, you can access those tenders. If there are any private tenders, sometimes the embassy will not get to know about them. But for public tenders, you don't need the embassy because these are accessible to anyone and everyone. Thank you.
Ngoye kuno kune like toda kufunza.
Let's move on to the...
Maybe, let me just ask Mr. Machinji, can that give an email address to which those who may want to reach out to us, in the diaspora, you send the email.
Thank you and good morning to you all. The email that you can use to access the embassy is zimpretoria@gmail.com. We also have an alternate email address, embassy@zimbabweembassy.co.za.
Embassy, Zimbabwe Embassy.
Embassy@zimbabweembassy.co.za. The other one is zimpretoria as one word.
Zimpretoria@gmail.com.
Yes. Did you get me?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you. We're going to go into how many questions do we have before we go into a quick break. And okay, so just to also emphasize on what the ambassador was saying is, even before I had an interaction, I think I had a first meeting with him and I said, Ambassador, I have these ideas. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. You know, and he said, okay, let's do it in this way. You come with proposals and you do this and you interact with the young people and the women that you are leading and you come to the embassy. And I think after the first month, I should have said, Your Excellency, you have a job. Because I think it's so easy for us to say, yeah, and people, and I guess we have a tendency to also say, we just want to see the ambassador. For me, if I go to the embassy, I want to see him. But I think what I've learned also is he's got a team, and I think we need to applaud you, Mr. Machinji, for the great work that you're doing. He is accessible any time of the day. He is the mouthpiece for us young people and women to the ambassador, and I really need to applaud you for that. I think the experience has been beautiful and very helpful. So please use that email address. They will respond very efficiently and effectively. I can attest to that. So I'm going to come to SIS MELLY.
Honorable Ambassador, we appreciate the way that you are doing very well. But I would like to know what the government is doing for other Zimbabweans living in South Africa and during this time of pandemic, if there is any. And again, I would like to ask about the renewal of permits to those who have been using this, is it what you call it? ZPE or whatever, I don't know. ZSP. And then my last question is, we're having problems with so many people that are staying here with their kids. But when they go to different schools, they are requested to bring study permits, of which most of them, they don't have those study permits. So how best can we help us as a Zimbabwean government so that every child can have this access to education. Thank you.
Okay, then Rosie.
Well, good afternoon. My question is almost similar with SIS MELLY as well, but mine is about upcoming business women, especially women. What do you have any offer that we have, like now during pandemic, most of the business were affected. Do we have any small loan that we can get? Similar like what South Africa is doing the early grant for free, but as we are paying, can we have something that you can give us, maybe small amount, and we can pay them maybe in interest as long as you produce something which is valid to get that money.
Should it?
Is it possible? Because we are struggling as young ladies trying to build our businesses.
Amen.
Initially, actually.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna take the last 1, 2, 3, right? No, actually. I'm gonna take you, and then he answers, then we do the last round. And then we take a break, and then maybe during the break you can then, if you still have any questions, you can then interact with the delegation and the office of the ambassador. So yeah, question number 3, then he answers, then we go to the last round.
Honorable, my question is, I just want to understand if there's processes and procedures or ways that you can help us, the ladies in business in the diaspora, to access land in Zimbabwe that are legit, because we really have been trying to attain land and we're trying to buy stands in Zim. So if there is access, legit access,
Amen.
or processes to that, please can you help us with that?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna hand over to him, then we get to the last round of questions. Nebasa,
Shairu.
No, that is why we are here. What are we doing?
Ndio kidogo takukidogo mvunzo.
Let me say first and foremost, you know our country is going through its own challenges. Huge challenges, but of course the government is not just sitting back and saying we have challenges. We are working very hard to try and bring life into our economy, trying to reform, trying to get investors into the country. And we can see some of those efforts are indeed bringing some fruit. But for those who are here in South Africa, as I said earlier, the embassy does not have any facility of assistance that it can render. So even during the pandemic, you may have read we were able to get one Zimbabwean businessman who gave some assistance to Zimbabweans who wished to return home. And that's what we do. We work with partners to try and mobilize the resources to support our nationals. So for the Zimbabweans during the pandemic, you may recall the UN and UN agencies were helping some of our nationals, but they needed for you to be documented. And again, we had some real challenges for some of our nationals in that respect. The long and short of it is we don't have any facility, we don't have any resources, but what we can do is when cases are brought to our attention, we can try and see from among the partners here in South Africa who can perhaps assist in ameliorating that problem. The special permits, this is an issue that we have formally requested some information from the South African government. We are aware that the special permits are expiring at the end of the year, so we have requested the South African government to view as to what they intend to do. We are informed that they are still studying the letter, they are discussing it at cabinet level, and when they are ready, they will make an announcement. But rest assured, we have an interest that there is some certainty and that there is some announcement soon. Study permits, for those who are here in South Africa, I don't know whether my colleagues from the consulate might have any information on that. But for Zimbabweans who are in Zimbabwe and who wish to study in South Africa, they have to apply for the study permits at the South African Embassy in Huyai. And they are processed by the Department of Home Affairs. We don't have any role to play. All we can do is really to follow up where there may be delays. And in this respect, we have, as the embassy and as the government of Zimbabwe, appealed to South Africa and to the government of South Africa to ensure that the study permits are issued to the students in good time, because many times these students miss out on their classes because the permits are issued late. Access to land, this is a very difficult issue, because if there are many who would like to have access to land who are not having access to land. But I have some good news. The Zimbabwe Investment and Development Agency, ZIDA, has said that they are going to be responding to applications for land by those in the diaspora.
Okay.
So we can give you their contacts.
Yes, to pay.
We encourage you to contact ZIDA and express your interest in getting land.
ZIDA.
I don't know, Mr. Shabbat, want to say something? Please. Thank you.
So I'm going to take the last round of questions, so we can just take a 5-minute bathroom break and we get into the second session. And then, like I said, the delegation are still here. If you want to ask them questions and interact with them within that break, please feel free to do so. Yeah, so the last round of questions.
Thank you. To Your Excellency and the delegation here present, last time we met, there was mention of coming through to South Africa for their Gauteng exhibition or Gauteng investors meeting of that nature. We informed that we received further communication. I want to find out, has there been any developments on that, and how do we get involved when they come through?
Two questions from the ladies sitting next to each other.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming here. It's nice to have this opportunity. My question is, so as media personalities, we also believe we're somewhat ambassadors of Zimbabwe on social media. So my question is, how can we, is there an opportunity as media personalities to engage with the embassy, but also as ambassadors of Zimbabwe, where we are? I see a lot of, there's a lot of push I see on social media from Zimbabwean personalities right now within tourism. But wouldn't it be amazing that we could then partner with the embassy to showcase our country? I sit on a panel with women from 5 different African countries, and I can tell you that between Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, the DRC, they have the backup of their countries. They push. We're pushing for tourism because we've all gone through, the whole country has gone through a lot. The whole country has gone through a lot of pandemic. So now we're pushing for and the goodness of our country. Is there that opportunity for media, for social media personalities? Have we had that talk as just as Zimbabweans?
Yeah, thank you.
Well, good morning, ladies.
Andisikutoiziva
I
umuntu
think the biggest
unoti
challenge that
media
the
usipi.
ambassador's office is facing right now is lack of visibility. So I think all the issues that women are raising at this point is that we do not know we know the existence, but the capacity of the ambassador's office to assist us. So now, especially the point that Davina is raising, how can we then use our social media capacities and engagement so that we actually, visualize the map of what it is and what it could be, and we engage with one another in that process. So I think visibility, we need it. We need media personalities in the house to help us with that.
Okay, I'm going to answer.
Ngapi ndio mvunzo?
Again, thank you very much for those questions. Zimtrade mission is still on. It has had to be postponed because one, there was concern about these rising numbers in infections. We are expecting that this should not take place in August. I'm very happy to hear your readiness to participate. Please, let's have your contacts. If we already don't have them, then we will definitely include you in the communication that we will send once we
tutoda kwana mamonya imomo.
Certainly going to be a challenge of the space. There are limits as to how many can be admitted.
Ani ndikutomira mira pa break ndoda kutona yanga ku straight pa break ndikutomira mira.
Clearly it will be also a matter of what is the trade mission, looking at specifically which sectors, because it's not every sector. And if you are in that sector, definitely you will be considered first than those who may not be in a sector that is represented in this trade mission. What is the purpose of the mission? It is really to try and improve our trade relations with South Africa, to identify markets for some of our products, identify partners, suppliers, and of course, we would like to see our own Zimbabwean nationals being part of that mission, being part of that trade promotion activity. So by all means, we will certainly make room for you, but there will be limitations as to how many will come. Social media personalities, I'm very happy that each and every one of you is an ambassador. The difference of Zimbabwe, the difference between you and me is that I get, it is my job, which I get paid for.
And it's true.
Which I was trained for. But for you, the mere fact that you are a Zimbabwean, you are in fact enjoined to put your best foot forward as a Zimbabwean, so that the country and the brand Zimbabwe is identified with the positive things that you do and that you represent. So we are partners in that respect. And I would prefer, particularly on the social media, that there is this distinction between the official and the national, the individual, private initiative, even if we are working towards the same goal. And I'm very happy if you wish, in terms of coordinating the message, if we have some event that is taking place, and we want to amplify it. Again, Mr. Machin, there is my point made on the communication. We can have that type of coordination, but which is not formal. But I prefer that you keep your social media personality so that you are recognized as such, and you then don't get, you know how polarized Zimbabweans are. You don't get caught up in all these other exchanges that we end up doing in our official capacities. Yes, the ambassador's office seeks visibility. At the moment, we have a Twitter account. We are talking to some communications and media specialists and experts to see how best we can improve our visibility here in South Africa He's also on various.
mavanzwa here kwanzi unova kuita kunge uchiita zvinhu zvakanaka usingaiti zviri controversial vanotibatsira here tikadika kuita macontroversial vanotipa here help yacho.
Very open to listen to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. We need a whole day here with you. But I think we're going to take, and I think we need to just give a round of applause. At least he showed up to answer our questions. Let's start there. So I'm going to try and liaise with Mr. Machinjike for the Zim Trade Mission, since you all RSVP'd and we have your contact details, so that when we get information, if it's an application or whatever it is, we just send it to you, and then you apply and see what is needed, the prerequisites, so we go on. So we're gonna go for a 5-minute bathroom break and a breather, and then we come back to a most exciting session where we get to meet the young ladies that are doing incredible work in the diaspora, and we get to speak to them. And I think it's also important for the ambassador and the team to get, so we listen to
South Africa vasi kudiaspora mashuwa kakuchinzi tiri kudiaspora isari South Africa,
emotionally, psychologically, economically, business-wise. So yeah, and we have little gifts for you when you come back on your table. So yeah, you can go and have a break, for a 5-minute break.
Right.
Let's be back at 10 to 12 as we are getting to the last hour of our event. Thank you.
Iwe mamomorosi ndikuwe futi uchitikwa vanhu vari kuSouth Africa muri kurumhiri kwaLimpopo musi kudiaspora washuwa hapana machinzi the people in diaspora, meaning us. This tiri kurehwa. We are in diaspora. You like it or not, we are here in diaspora. We are diasporans. Whether you like it or not, we are diasporans.
South Africa diaspora. You see, we are there in diaspora and living live. Say it about sugar life. Yeah, maybe.
I think it is. Serious, I think it is. We are always here for you.
Can you phone this? Yes, Smelly.
Yes. Oh, look at Shansai. Inotora. Inotora. Hello, babes. Musha Marisi.
How are you? Come in your life.
Ah, that's it. Hi, Davina. How are you?
Okay. This is Smelly. This is Rosalie. Yes, but you guys, all of you don't know me by face. So I wanted to just you guys support a question.
All right.
And I could force.
This is Andrew Kuzuta. You are Doctor in the Davina, which platform are you representing?
I have a TV show called The Buzz. It's on DSTV. Honey Africa's got a new
show. Okay, all right. Okay.
So we are, our show is 5 women from different African countries.
Oh, right. What do you discuss about?
Anything.
Oh, really?
To our show.
Oh, you must invite me there as well. Because I'm very talkative. And I'll bring my followers there.
So yeah, so but just, we don't have it's not a live show on it. For now, it's just the 5, kind of like the
Zoom, okay.
Kind of like the View.
Okay.
You know, there's that show, The View.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. So we sit and people write into our show with their problems.
All right.
And we just kind of, whether your husband is leaving you or teaching you or whatever. Different countries.
Oh.
But what I like about our show is because we are from 5 different countries.
All right.
So there's Kenya, Nigeria, DRC.
No.
Very powerful.
Oh, really? Okay.
South Africa and Zim.
Nigeria
as well.
Yes.
And Nigeria is really powerful. Like,
I'm telling you,
they are behind the
almost every week.
Okay. No, I didn't know, but I see they've got I didn't know. I don't know them, but I know. I see they've got a concept that is content that is similar to mine.
Nigerians and the thing is,
all right. So,
but are you online?
Yes.
Am I doing this?
I thought you, Jobo, I thought you were based in Zimbabwe. What are you doing here? Really? Really? At least now I have got somebody who is going to do my boho. How are you? I follow you on Instagram. I don't know you. I'm your one of your clients. I want a photo with you. Please your phone.
Can I just take straight?
You can also take me one with them. I'm also to me one. Let's start with your sister. Let's go but they're on live. Hi. How are you? Good, thank you. Sismelinda kabata phone yenye kwa live. Ndimoibata.
I am the champion.
This is just, I'm just holding this. I don't know what's going on here.
What's your name?
Hi guys,
Yeah.
Wait.
Alright. I want you to...
Yeah.
It's smelly. Just grab my phone.
But I like.
Let me grab
But like. Hi guys. Zwakataka bheuti rayo kuzura. Hello. Do that again. Sure. Oh, thank you, my sister. Thank you. Nakuma melifoni yazo nazo. Ayo ngachileka nimbo yawo. Uzoyapha. Yeah, tutokwayapha zvakanaka. Macho mina ziva mina ike. Tutokwayapha zvakanaka. Andisini nazo. Nene kawandisa. Kuchikutika padubu. Wait. You know what I have?
Can I have a picture with you girls so that we're all... I'm also big on social media, people just being together.
Can you come into the picture?
And you know, kapata phone, no phone no but when Ini pasha jasho na.
Guys, say success, guys. Again. Yes.
This is made with lemon. Yes, sir.
Yes, sister.
I think I had enough.
Thick girls, they save lives.
Is your chain supposed to be like
girls save lives.
Our husband doesn't have blankets now. We are there.
I
Oh, your phone. Where's your machinery? Oh, Nikki. Okay, cool. Oh, this is the work one. This is the family. And you balance it so well, two blacks and oh, what was hey, so that you're all on the board.
This one. Nikki. Nikki.
You want to just put picture, but where's Rose?
She's deep into the acknowledge my baby.
Ayo guys, magama is papas. Ma? Nan magama is phone yang guys papas. Gila ini kucure, gila wapi. Kita harus sei kunovakana naye muchida kuzomutorwa picha nenazi ndoramwa aiko chinjaiwo ukastera chinjaistera ziva chitori uzondisendera.
Hi, so can we take our seats now? We're gonna have more time when we are done with the event.
I hope you have oh, simply what? So go for it. Can I have a photo with that phone? No problem.
I'm short, I don't even have.
Okay.
Okay, let's settle down. We'll speak to the ambassador after when we're done.
Shall I take it?
Hey, tu pale.
Please give the sponsor his time, the ambassador, for pictures. He deserves it. Yes.
Macho kuna picha na ambassador Yesu.
They are coming.
Oh, Amorosa. Mai wacho. Okay. Introduce without you scam mwana.
If you don't have a goodie bag, see me after this. I got you. Okay, so on our tables, we'd like to thank our sponsors who are mainly women business owners. So I see you see your little package with Amasi and others with Hodeko, others with peanut butter. That is from the filling station. So it's an amazing lady who's an attorney by profession, but she has a factory in Randburg where she manufactures the yogurt, juices, peanut butter, etc., all organic. You go with your container, you fill it up, and it's cheap. And please put her numbers there. Please like them, follow them, taste, visit them. We went there yesterday. It's amazing. It's so amazing the work that she's doing. So that's for you to taste. And in the other little bag are information packs from our sponsors and the ladies that have businesses. T-Glow that I introduced when we got here, and when our sessions are done or mid-session, she's going to so we can sample her products and see how they work. So yeah. If you like our things like me, this is the session for you. So I'm just going to jump right into our second session where we get to listen to our speakers and what they're doing in the community. I'm going to call upon Tendai Bosa. We went to primary school together. We grew up in the same area in Gweru, Zimbabwe, and we're here today. So she's going to introduce herself and speak about her profession and what she's doing and women health in general. Can you give her a round of applause? So before she speaks, just to give you an insight into our session now, you will see that we have carefully chosen our speakers that are diverse, but they all appeal to the well-being of the woman. Health, psychology, business, humanitarian side, all of inspirational stories. So that's how this session is going to go. So let me sanitize. Applause for tonight.
Filling
Good
station.
afternoon, everyone.
Ladies.
I had to write this because I've never had to speak in front of very honorable people. So good afternoon, Your Excellency, Honorable Hamad Dr. Hamad Zerbi, esteemed guests, and all you beautiful women in this room, all protocols observed. I always wanted to say that. Okay, so today, I'm a pharmacist by profession, and just so you know, pharmacists just don't stand behind the counter. We know a great deal about health. Anyway, that being said, I don't work in a pharmacy. I hate dispensing. My job doesn't matter, but my passion does, and that's what I'm going to talk about. In 2019, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome, which is PCOS, and I've got 10 minutes, so I'm not going to talk about that. And that's when I realized that I want to change the course of future generations. When I look back, and I trace, my grandmother was undiagnosed with PCOS, my mother had fibroids, and I have PCOS. So I realized it comes from one generation, it goes to the other, because our lifestyle, our ignorance, passes on from one generation to the other. And you know what happens with diseases like PCOS, fibroids, endometriosis. A lot of women, well, let me see, just a little poll. Who in here has any one of these? Endometriosis, fibroids, PCOS, has struggled to fall pregnant, has suffered through a lot, so many miscarriages. I know it's not very easy, right? So I have PCOS, I know. Fibroids, yes. The stats are 1 in 10 women in the world has PCOS, 1 in 10 women has endometriosis, and the worst, 1 in 4 women amongst African women has fibroids. Most go undiagnosed because when we have period pain and other period issues, we are told to stay strong, and it doesn't matter. And most of us get to the age of 21, we have never been to a gynae, except when we fall pregnant or when we want to fall pregnant, which is the normal thing. So that also happened to me because I was only diagnosed 2 months after my wedding. And I had to learn. I was chubby as a baby, I still am, you know, all through high school, everyone who was with me in school, primary, everything. So I had to learn to start changing how I view myself, how I eat, and how I do so many things. So when I started speaking out, I started off on my Instagram account. I started getting a lot of me toos. Oh yes, me too. And as we were going, as Dr. Hamad Zerbi said, you will get to a point where you discover your passion. Then I helped the first woman. And I felt like in helping the first woman, I'm also helping myself. Because unfortunately, I can't be my own pharmacist or my own doctor. So it makes more sense when I help someone else. So that gave birth to T Health Day, T for tonight, then Health Day because, I don't know, it's not too formal. So what started off as a journey of sharing my own journey became a journey of helping other women. I decided to study further, as the good doctor has said, you need to study further because you're not going to be able to help anyone if you don't know what you're doing. So the TLP platform has grown. I am with 180 women. I offer Zoom workouts, and I now have a group of other women who are trainers to also help women lose weight. So I have sort of moved away from the front of training because my passion is more with reproductive health. And I have been helping a lot of women with different and amazing stories. And that has brought me to want to start my foundation where I want to help women in the diaspora, especially Zimbabwean women, because as you have seen, it is very difficult if you don't have medical aid and if you don't know which doctor to go to. You are going to have period issues and you're going to go just to a GP, no offense to GPs, but a GP is just going to put you on a pill which is just going to suppress whatever we're going to be able to deal with. So starting last year, I was able to come across a very lovely woman who had been struggling with bleeding all throughout. She could bleed 365 days. And we were able to, because I'm a pharmacist and I've worked in government and private, you meet a lot of doctors. So you kind of work on the relationships with the doctors, and you talk to doctors. We don't have money, the foundation is not funded, just the foundation by name. So